If you're a SaaS marketer, you know the pressure. It's that constant nagging feeling that you need to be filling the sales pipeline with quality leads. I'm not talking about just a list of names, but real, potential customers who are actually ready to have a conversation. But what if the playbook we've all been using is, well, kind of broken? That's what we're going to dig into today. And we'll see how content syndication might just be the game changer your SaaS company is looking for.
All right, here's the plan. First, we're going to talk about the paid ad trap that so many of us fall into. Then, we'll shift gears and look at a much smarter strategy, syndication. After that, it's all about the execution, the playbook for getting it right. Then, we'll cover how you turn those leads into sales-ready opportunities. And finally, we'll look at the cold, hard proof that this stuff really, really works.
Okay, let's just rip the Band-Aid off. We have to talk about that sinking feeling so many marketers have, that your paid ad budget is just vanishing into a black hole, and you're getting less and less back for every dollar you spend.
I mean, you really have to ask yourself this question. Is that spend actually working for you? Are those clicks turning into real conversations? Is that budget building a healthy pipeline for your SaaS product, or is it just noise? For a lot of us, the answer is getting pretty uncomfortable, and there are some huge reasons why.
I mean, just get a load of this number. $84 billion, that's B for billion. That's how much money was just completely vaporized in 2023 due to ad fraud, bots, fake clicks, you name it. That's budget that had absolutely zero chance of ever bringing you a real lead. It's like a giant hidden tax on all your marketing efforts.
And you know, ad fraud is really just the tip of the iceberg. The bigger problem is that our customers, the people we're trying to reach, are just tired. They've got digital fatigue. They're experts at tuning out our ads. And beyond that, there's a huge trust problem. Nearly half of B2B buyers say they trust content from an impartial third party way more than an ad from a vendor. So what happens? Abysmal click-through rates, and worst of all, our sales teams waste precious time chasing ghosts.
So, if the old way is broken, what do? Well, what if instead of constantly trying to interrupt our customers, we just met them where they already are? You know, where they're actively learning and researching solutions. This is the whole idea behind a much smarter strategy called content syndication.
So what exactly is content syndication? It's actually super simple. You take your best content, your awesome white papers, your killer ebooks, and you partner with trusted third-party websites to share it with their audience. It's not an ad interrupting their day. It's a value exchange. They get your expertise, and you get a potential new customer. Simple as that.
And look, the data backs this up big time. Companies that are using content syndication are just way more likely to hit their lead gen goals compared to companies that aren't. It's a proven method for getting your SaaS product in front of the right people in the right context.
Now, this is a really, really important point. Sometimes you hear people say syndication gives you bad leads. But this quote from Vikas Bots just hits the nail on the head. The channel isn't the problem, it's how you use it. Your success or failure with this whole thing comes down to one thing: execution.
So how do we make sure we execute this thing perfectly? Because it's not about just blasting your content all over the place and hoping something sticks. No, it's about being strategic, disciplined, and avoiding some really common and really costly mistakes.
And it all starts right here. Mistake number 1. Honestly, this is the foundation for everything. If you're a little fuzzy on who your ideal customer is, then every single thing you do, especially syndication, is built on shaky ground. Yeah, you might get leads, but they won't be the people your sales team actually wants to talk to.
So the fix is to stop treating your ICP like some dusty document you made last year. It needs to be a living, breathing blueprint for your business. Dig into the data on your absolute best customers. What do they have in common? What tech do they use? How do they act? And then, and this is key, run small pilot campaigns to test your assumptions before you go all in.
Oh, this next mistake is so easy to fall for. We've all been there. It's that temptation to chase sheer volume. You see hundreds of leads pouring in, and you get all excited. But then that excitement fades really fast when sales tell you that none of them are any good. It's a classic vanity metric, and it can just poison the relationship between marketing and sales.
So what do? You have to change the game you're playing. Forget about cost per lead. Start obsessing over what really matters, like your MQL to SQL conversion rate. How many of these leads are actually turning into sales conversations? Use content that signals real buying intent, like case studies or comparison guides, because trust me, a handful of perfect fit leads is worth more than 1,000 tire kickers.
Okay, so you've done everything right. You've run a brilliant syndication campaign, and you have a list of high-quality leads. Awesome. But hold on, your job is not over. Not even close. You have to remember, someone downloading a white paper is not the same as them asking for a demo. Now we have to bridge that gap.
To do that, you have to understand this journey. Someone starts as an anonymous visitor. They download your content and poof, they become a marketing qualified lead, an MQL. They're interested, sure, but maybe just in the topic, not your SaaS product specifically. Your job is to nurture them until they show real buying intent and become a sales qualified lead, an SQL. That's when they're ready for a sales call.
A killer nurture strategy really has 4 parts. First, you've got to segment your leads so you can send them relevant stuff. Second, you need to have that content ready to go for every stage of their journey. Third, use lead scoring. Give people points for doing things that signal interest, like visiting your pricing page. And finally, and this is absolutely critical, you have to get aligned with sales on the exact moment a lead gets handed over. No more guesswork.
All right, and now for my favorite part, the proof. We've talked strategy, we've talked execution, but now let's look at the cold, hard numbers that show why doing content syndication right is such a powerful growth engine, especially for SaaS. Let's start with the cost. Just look at this. The average cost per lead from content syndication is so much lower than what you'd pay on Google or LinkedIn. I mean, we're talking about half the cost in some cases. Right out of the gate, your marketing dollars are just going further. But I know what you're thinking. Sure, it's cheaper, but are the leads any good? And that is the million-dollar question, right? Well, check this out. Not only are syndication leads cheaper to get, they are 2 to 3 times more likely to convert from a marketing lead into an actual qualified sales opportunity. That is the definition of working smarted.
And here's the long-term payoff. When you put it all together, the lower costs and the much higher conversion rates, the result is an incredible return on your investment. We are talking a 300 to 500% ROI. This is how you stop treating content as an expense and start turning it into a predictable revenue engine for your company.
So, I'll leave you with this one last question. When you look at all this data, the cost, the conversion rates, the ROI, you just have to ask yourself, is your budget really going to the channels that are best at building a predictable pipeline of sales-ready leads? The answer could completely change the way you grow your business.